I'm Garth Ennis, I write comics, and I'm here today at FP for the Battle Action signing. I read Battle Action when I was a kid. It was quite formative for me. Some of my favourite stories of all time appeared there. The interesting thing about it is that it ceased publication. It went through a number of different forms, but it ceased publication effectively in 1987 and then lay dormant for about the next 30 years. But I never forgot it, and I always wanted to bring it back and try to bring some of the best characters back. And once I realized that Rebellion, the publisher who owned the rights, were enthusiastic enough, I jumped in with both feet, really. Nominally, I was the head of the project, I suppose, but the real hard work was done by Oliver Pickles, the editor at Rebellion, and I worked with him to bring together the best people for the job. It was a matter of talent, but also enthusiasm for the project.
Hi, I'm John McCrea. I draw comics.
My name's Rob Williams and I'm a writer mainly of comics.
My name's Keith Burns and I'm an artist.
Hi, I'm Torunn Grønbekk and I write comic books.
Hi, I'm Steve White. I'm writer and cover artist on Battle Action number 3.
I was brought into the project because I think Garth knew of my love for Hookjaw and drawing great big scary monstrous sharks. So he asked me.
I was asked by Garth Ennis because I think they were struggling to find a writer who could do something new with Hookjaw. And knowing Garth for some time, he knows that I have a deep and abiding interest in sharks, and he thought I could perhaps bring something different to the story.
I got involved with Battle Action because Garth Ennis knows that I absolutely adore a very specific sort of period of history. Particularly like the Eastern Front and maybe particularly the Night Witches. So when he needed someone to take over Nina Petrova, he asked me, which I appreciate a lot.
I got involved in this project, but it's basically working with Garth Ennis for quite a while. He just kind of brings me along with him and we go to the next World War II aviation story.
Garth and I are friends, and Garth sort of mentioned it a few years ago. When I read Battle, when I was a kid, I didn't read Battle Action actually, but I did get Battle. And so it's one of these nostalgia projects, which is just great fun to do because you get to revisit the comics you enjoyed as a kid and also try and put a bit of a modern spin on it.
With, I suppose, the changes in storytelling techniques that have evolved in comics over the past 20 or 30 years during the period that Battle Action lay dormant, I think we could bring something new to the table. I think taking classic characters like Johnny Red, Hellman, Dredger, HMS Nightshade and so on, we can reintroduce them to a modern audience, but at the same time give the older audience familiar with the original material enough of what kept them happy back in the day. So if you take Hookjaw, for example, the classic action story about the giant shark, Steve White, the writer on that one, there is no bigger shark enthusiast, there is no bigger Hookjaw fan than Steve. He was the obvious choice, and of course he also contributed that fantastic cover.
When I was asked to do the story, I had various little nuggets of information in my head, and I basically just put a plot outline together, which I sent to Garth and Ollie at Rebellion, and they came back and said it needs more killing. So I had to, apply a bit more bloodshed to the comic, and then kind of went from there. Really, it was something that I loved writing and really hope to do more of.
As far as inspiration goes, I'm a huge fan of Hookjaw. I read Action when I was a kid, and it was one of those comics that was quite formative for me because I was a bloodthirsty little bastard, and I loved Hookjaw most because of his insane body count. So getting to draw Hookjaw has always been on my bucket list, so I was very pleased to get to draw the monstrous shark.
to continue to use Hookjaw as an example, you think about who the right artist is for that. Well, John McCrea, I think, has the right level of slightly insane, slightly demented action, with a small a in this case, and a strong desire to draw imagery of people being torn to pieces by huge marine predators. Again, the obvious man for the job. So take that one as an example. That's what Oliver and I really did every time. We brought the best and most appropriate writer together with the best and most appropriate artist.
You've only got like 10 pages, so you're not reinventing the wheel, but you just want to get the essence of these amazing sort of characters people loved years ago. But you do actually just want to give them a fresh voice to a degree while also staying true to them. But, you know, like I say, when you're working with people like Henry Flint and PJ Holden, you know, these guys I've worked with a bunch in the past, they're fantastic storytellers, and it's just, you end up with things that are they're little treats, really. They're just like, it's really not a hard job. It is a really fun, passionate job to do.
The toughest part of writing Nina Petrova is just that you can't write 4 million pages, which is what I wanted to do. So just sort of narrowing down what I wanted to say into what was supposed to be 14 pages but turned into 15 pages because I begged Oliver for more. I think that was the hardest part, because it is, we tell the story of like one mission at a time, yet these women, they would fly 8 to like 16 missions every night. So there's a lot of story to tell.
As far as the script and collaborating goes, I got the script and I drew the script. That was really it. There wasn't much collaboration. I had to amend a few things about the shark, where I got a little bit carried away, made his hook too long, and then had to shrink the hook back down again. So just these things it happen.
I guess in the script, I print the script out and then doodle quite small thumbnails on the script as I work through it. Because usually as you're reading it, you get the image just kind of comes straight into your head, so it's best to get it down straight away on the first pass. And then I build a lot of models, because it's World War II, it has to be historically accurate. And because I've worked on a book called Illustrated Histories, Illustrated Second World War, I've got shelves full of models, so normally when I get the script I have most of them covered, so if I don't have to build models, once I've done the layouts and figured out which ones I need, then I'll take them out into daylight at the back garden and photograph them, so you get all the information you need. And from the photographs you get direct sunlight onto the model, you get reflected light, you've got all the markings of the camouflage on it, which makes drawing it a lot easier. So that's how you get it accurate. But then I suppose the most interesting part of it is the storytelling side. Because normally if you do like a painting on one panel, you have to lead the reader's eye through the panel. Excuse me. But on a comic page, it's unique because you have to lead the reader's eye through the whole page from panel to panel. So each page, the way I lay out panels is each panel has to have something in that panel leading the reader's eye to the next panel. So if that could be the way the main character is looking, or it could be the direction of travel of an aircraft, or whatever it might be. So as you go across the page from top to bottom, when you get to the end, then the last panel on that side will then direct you back down again. And I usually find that the most enjoyable part of it. Then once I've got all that worked out, which is the kind of fun bit, the bit that's a bit more laborious and takes a bit more time, is actually preparing it for camera. So, making everything properly rendered, which is not my favourite. I do enjoy it, but it's not my favourite bit. The fun bit is the storytelling. Once I've done that, on this one it was 14 pages an issue, which is usually a bit less than a normal issue, would be 22 pages. But when you're doing this kind of historically accurate stuff, it's I wouldn't say laborious, but it's a lot of work. It's enjoyable work, but it's a lot of work when you have to get, I don't know, say for example, Garth had one description in the last Johnny Red one where there was 12 aircraft being escorted by 12 different aircraft, and they were being attacked by 12 different aircraft, and that was over Stalingrad that was destroyed. And then the first time I read that through I thought, oh, that's great, double page spread, so that's one great big image. But then what usually happens when I read through is some images will stand out, but when it actually comes to them working the page out, it turns out that big image is actually just one panel on a page that has about 7 or 8 different panels on it. which kind of takes the joy out of it slightly. Yeah, a lot of work, but enjoyable work. But yeah, so it's quite an unusual existence being an artist, so you spend most of your time on your own. The interesting part of that is you're only ever up against yourself, so you have to be kind of critical enough to make sure your art keeps improving, but then not critical enough that you're actually going to crush yourself. So when you get out then to meet people out in the world, it's quite good, because I don't think I think once I had a fella come up to me and said he wasn't, he preferred the original artist on Johnny Red specifically. But other than that, everyone else has been really lovely and positive, so it's great then to get out, because you sit there struggling, not really struggling, but kind of debating over which panel to choose and which angle to choose, this, that and the other, and it's, you're working your way through, and sometimes it's a bit of a battle, sometimes it's a breeze and it just all comes together. So then when you get out and meet people in the public and they're appreciative of the amount of work that goes into it, it's quite good. And then usually, the kind of people that are into this work, the same nerd level that I am, so we end up having chats about, aircraft or history or whatever it might be. Yeah, so it's always good.
Right now I'm working on Catwoman, and then I'm doing some unannounced projects that I'm very excited about. In addition, there is a new battle action series coming, and I'm writing Petrova there too.
Right now, I've got Babs, which is the sort of humor barbarian series I have with Ahoy Comics running, drawn by Jason Burrows. That seems to have gone over pretty well, and I'm happy to say I'm halfway through writing the second series. New publisher Ninth Circle, in conjunction with Image, is putting out Freddy the Fix, which is the first of a series of horror one-shots. Coming in the new year, you will see Partisan, which is a book I'm very fond of. That's with Steve Epting. A few years ago, Steve and I did a very well-received graphic novel called Sarah, about a Russian woman sniper. This one continues those themes. It's about a young woman and her family ending up fighting with the partisans, the resistance fighters behind the lines in Soviet Russia during the Nazi invasion in World War II. And I suppose the other thing I've got going at the moment is a strip called The War, in Boom's horror anthology Hello Darkness, which is as we would call it, a nuclear war drama. That's one of the darker things I've written in recent years.
Right now, I'm actually preparing to do 140 illustrations for a new encyclopedia on the evolution of sharks. I'm also working on a book on paleo art, the art of reconstructing dinosaurs and various other prehistoric animals, for Bloomsbury, which is due out at the end of 2026.
I am still working on Dead Eyes for Image, my create-your-own book with Jerry Duggan, and I am doing a strip with Garth for the second Hitman Omni, and I have done a Road Trooper story for 2000 AD and a whole pile of Batman covers for DC recently.
What am I doing next? I'm doing more Judge Dredd for 2000 AD. In January we have the A Better World Judge Dredd graphic novel coming out, which we're excited by, which is by myself, Arthur Wyatt and Henry Flint again. And that is a Dredd story we did last year, which had quite a big reaction, which is largely about the idea of defunding the police and taking that very sort of prominent sort of contemporary theme and putting it into Judge Dredd's world. So that'll be the next thing out by me, and I think that's out at the end of January.
I'm finishing this Johnny Red, and then I've got some more stamps to do, I think, and I've got some paintings to do because I'm with the gallery as well, so a lot of big fine art paintings and some other commercial illustration jobs, and then more comics with Garth.
I always really enjoy meeting the public. It's always really nice just to sort of talk to fans and get their kind of feedback and know that what you're doing is is sort of making people happy. So yeah, I always love doing signings and portfolio reviews and sketching for people. You know, it's just a sort of pleasure to know that you're doing a job where you're making people happy like that.
It's always nice, and I prefer to meet people in person rather than worry about what's going on in social media or other online commentary. It's when you meet someone face to face and you have a chance to talk to them, that's what makes the difference. That's where you can see what makes them tick, the kind of thing they like, the way they've responded to your story and what it's meant to them.
It helps that we've been in the pub for a couple of hours beforehand. No, it's fun. It's nice to meet people. You don't really realise the effect it has. And what's great is, even though like Battle and Battle Action is a comic traditionally from 40 years ago, we're bringing it into 2024. People are reading it now, and their reaction to it is kind of it's good to see, basically, and hopefully we can keep this thing going, because I think everyone here today really enjoys working on this project.
Thanks to everyone who turned up today. Thanks for all the staff at FP for making it such a great success. Looking forward to the next one. Cheers.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.